How's it going, everybody? I am Jake the Red, and it's been a while since I've done a not gameplay video, like completely not gameplay. And also, I got my hair done, and I cut most of my beard off. But don't worry, it grows back. I know it's been praised quite a bit lately. Something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and almost 300 videos in, you guys know almost nothing about my past or me personally, which I've realized recently, and that's completely my mistake. By not, letting you guys know a little bit more about me. And coming up on 600 subscribers, I figured this is alright time to do it. So I wish I could talk. It'd be wonderful if I could talk. So I'm going to tell you about me growing up. Now, it's not going to be like a whole play-by-play. I'm going to just explain to you, like, what my life was like growing up. Because people, have misconceptions about people on the way they look. I'm looking at myself and not the camera lens. I'm very sorry. I'm still not used to this camera because I can see myself right there. And it's so weird because I'm used to recording on a GoPro, so you can't see yourself at all. No, I work at a hospital, regrettably, because I do not like my job there, but that's the present. I'm going to talk about my past. Michigan looks like... this. Kinda. This? Okay, whatever. I was born like right here in Michigan. I'll put up a map somewhere. It's called Bay City, Michigan. It's born. Bay City was born the day I was born. I brought that city into existence. No, I was born at Bay Medical Center. Wow! I can't talk! The first few years of my life were spent in maybe the first 4 or so, I think, were spent in a little country town. It's the cheese capital of Michigan, called Pinconning, Michigan. I have to burp. Hold on. Ooh! Ooh! Had a friend. Okay, so I was born in Bay City, Michigan. I lived in Pinconning, Michigan, right next door to my grandparents. We lived in this conjoined trailer. It was like 2 trailers put together to make a bigger house. And that house is completely decrepit now. There's a tornado down there. It's such a sad sight because the road that I lived on was completely canopied with trees. It was beautiful. It was like country 101. It was like an oasis. You could just stand out there and enjoyed it. Tons of bugs. Terrible. Hate them. Moving on. And I remember this like little patch of trees between my grandparents' house and our house that me and my big sister Hannah, who has been in a couple of videos. I don't think she's been in a video since Grand Theft Auto. I can't remember though. And we had this little swing hooked up to a tree, and it was awesome. But the tornado took that out, regrettably. So that's unfortunate. And then we moved to another Michigan town called Marion. No clue where it is. Haven't even had interest to check because we moved out of that house very fast because we discovered black mold in it. So we went back to the house that we lived in Pinconning for just a little while longer. And the reason we moved in the first place, and the reason we keep moving, is because my dad is a pastor. You guys might not know that, but he is a pastor. He's a youth pastor right now because he's more of a child than I am sometimes. And he's got an unhealthy obsession with the Minions. Completely unhealthy. Not okay with it. I've fed it a few times. I'm kind of okay with it. Anyways, moving on. And my mom, I don't think she was really doing anything at the time. I think she was more of a stay-at-home mom. And then we moved a little bit later to Cadillac, which is up north. I'll put up another map. I don't know where the map is going to be. One of these areas. Okay, so we moved to Cadillac, which we lived in a trailer park called Pheasant Ridge. And we lived in a trailer, 4 years. 4 years. The last year that we lived there was, I think 2001. I think we moved in 2002 because my little sister was just born in Cadillac in Mercy Medical Center, which is now Munson Mercy Medical Center. And I remember when she was born, I stayed with our pastor friends that my dad was an assistant pastor of, James and Janet. I stayed in their house. And I remember it was kind of awkward because Janet is like, she's very strict, before you can have breakfast you have to make your bed and you got to clean up this and then you can have breakfast. She's an awesome cook. She made some great pancakes and waffles. But it was kind of weird for me because I was like a kid. I was like getting out of bed. I was like throwing the covers across the room, and I was like trudging through like waist-high toys to get to my door. Actually, not waist-high. I didn't have that many toys as a kid. I loved to play with Legos. Legos were my favorite. I had this big tub of Legos that we just recently sold, which I'm still kind of upset about. I had a lot of Toy Story toys, like plushies. I had a plastic Buzz Lightyear that the wings actually, you press the little red button and the wings just out. And I thought he could fly once, and I threw him, and I think I might have broken the ejection because the wings didn't go back in after that. I was a dumb kid. I also had hundreds of Star Wars action figures. So as a pastor in a certain district, the lesser fortunate family, I do believe how it works, that doesn't really have that much. And we didn't have that much. We've never really had that much. Up until now, we're just finally doing well for ourselves, but we were kind of just scraping by for most of my childhood. So most of the toys that I got were from grandparents or aunts and uncles, friends, hand-me-downs from my cousin Aaron. I got a lot of stuff from him. Most of my clothes came from him. I couldn't do that now because he's like 6'5", and I'm only 5'11". But I got a lot of hand-me-downs from him. And anyways, what a lot of the churches did was they'd invite a pastor family that was kind of less fortunate. And then they would host a Christmas for them where the entire church kind of bought presents for that family. And I always requested Star Wars action figures. I didn't care if I had doubles, triples, a whole army of one action figure. I made it work. I didn't care. Because Star Wars was my favorite thing, still is one of my favorite things in my life growing up. So, and speaking of 2001, 9/11, the terrorist attack, was my first memory. And that's why I'm scared of flying, which you might not know about me. I'm terrified of flying because the first thing that I remember seeing is my mom in front of the TV, big old boob tube, bubbled out screen, everything like that. Yeah, that was way back when, kids. Sitting in a rocking chair, just belly a-bursting because my sister was born a month later. Yeah, my first memory was 9/11, and then we moved to a town called Walkerville, which is just east of Ludington, which is a coast town, beautiful lighthouses, beautiful beaches, and everything like that. But we moved to Walkerville because my dad got a job at a church. Walkerville is a town that can literally fit, you could probably fit all the residents that live there into my subdivision that I live in right now. It was tiny, but the church was huge. Like, it had a gym in it. It had a gym. A church had a gym. And while living there, I made some great friends. Noah and his two stepbrothers, and I think that's pretty much it. Other than like Caleb, Josh and Caleb, but they lived in Coleman at the time, so I didn't really get to see them. That's like 2 hours away from Ludington. It was far away, and they might have lived in Bel Air a little bit after that, which is almost where I live now. I made a lot of friends from like camp and just church friends, and when you live in a small community, you really get to know a lot of people. And I went to elementary school at OCS, Oceana Christian School, which is in Hart, Michigan. Fast forward through events, I think about a year before, I think it was Memorial Day, because it happened in May. Is May Memorial Day, or is that Labor Day? I can never remember which one comes first. But whichever one happens in May, on that day, I got hit by a motorcycle trying to go to Noah's house. I think I was going to go grab something that I left at his house. I was riding my bike with my sister, and I misheard her. I thought she said cross the road, so I went to cross the road, and I just got blindsided by a motorcycle. Broke my leg. You can still kind of see a bow in my leg. Tibia and fibia, just kind of like that, and they had to reset it. I guess I should probably do this. They had to reset the bones. I was in a cast that entire summer. That whole summer I was in a cast, which sucked because it was a very hot summer. So everywhere I went, I was walking instead of riding a bike now. The guy did buy me a bike. He was very nice about it. I felt very bad. But yeah, I walked everywhere on crutches, and it was like a mile no matter where I went because we lived in like the middle of town. So I would just sweat so much. And we had a swimming pool, one of those redneck above ground swimming pools. Redneck. And I couldn't even go in that, so I just got to sit there and watch my sister because we weren't allowed to swim alone, so we had to have someone with us. I just got flashback memories. And then from there we moved back to Cadillac because my dad left that church. I can't remember if he left or he was voted out because there's like a voting system for pastors in some denominations. Ooh, I'm very gassy. I just had like 10 slices of pizza. Not 10, probably 6. But anyways, yeah, we moved back to Cadillac, at which point we moved back into the same house because we still owned it, but my grandparents lived there. So there was 7 people living in a single wide 3-bedroom trailer for about 8 months. That was hard. And I went to Franklin Elementary School for almost that entire year. We moved in the summer because we wanted to finish up school. We didn't want to go to a new school at the end of the school year. So yeah, it was tough. I love my grandparents. My grandpa, who's now passed away. It's been a year and a half now. And side thought, my grandpa's funeral like a year and a half ago in September was the last time I cried. So it shows how emotional I am. Anyways, we moved away from there. Not really much happened in that 8-month time. A lot of just family stuff. Not bad stuff, just like bonding with the family. Then we moved to almost where I live now, is Lake Ann, Michigan, which is a small little village, I guess, about 20 minutes from where I live. And we lived in a house that was connected to the church that my dad was pastoring at by the garage. We lived at the church, which was both cool and it sucked because I could play my guitar at the church as loud as I wanted, but on Sundays you couldn't get away from anybody. Like if you wanted to get away from that old lady that was like, just loves to talk to you, and I don't hate that. It's just old people sometimes are so hard to talk to because they're just like complimenting you over and over, and you're like, yeah. They're asking how you are and everything, and you ask them, and there's like no response because she does like the same thing every day. But you couldn't get away from that ever. You were always there. You were always at the church, and we lived right behind Lake Ann Camp, which was great because there was woods, which is why I have this tattoo. I don't know if you guys really have ever seen my tattoo up close, but it's just a forest. I'm gonna get some added to it. But I got that the year of my 18th birthday, so I've almost had it for 2 years, and I still have yet to get another one. But anyways, there was woods, and in our backyard, the best sledding hill. Like, it started gradual, and I was like, that's when I picked up snowboarding. Me and Aubrey, who you've seen, who used to be so fat. He has not gained or lost a pound since the 5th grade. He just grew really tall. He used to be shorter than me and just so fat. He was so funny. And that came at a time, we met at a time that I was kind of like the social outcast because I just joined the school. Everyone's been together for so many years. I've just now come to the school. Then Aubrey came like mid-year. And then we became best friends. We've been best friends since the 5th grade, which is crazy to think about. That was 10 years ago? 9-10 years ago. So we've been best friends for about 10 years. But anyways, we had the best sledding hill. Me and Aubrey both got into snowboarding. And off to the left of our backyard, when you walked out of our back door, if you go to the left into the woods, there was an obstacle course for Lake Ann Camp that you could use. There was a paintball course. The entire camp was right behind us. I actually worked there for a few years, volunteering and just doing what I could. Went there a couple of years. It's a Christian camp, so it's kind of. I hated camp. I'll just come out with that right now. I hated camp. I hated going to camp. So it was awkward for me, and it was also a lot of fun. Like, I met a lot of fun people that I don't talk to a single person from Lake Ann Camp anymore, actually. The only ones were like the Swensons. Cole Swenson and I were friends. We weren't best friends. We got along. But they lived just down the road from us. And Bobby Saraki lived down the road from us. I probably shouldn't be saying last names, but you have no knowledge of who these people are anyways. And then someone, I can't remember his name, lived right across the street from me, had a horse farm. So cool. So cool. You could like come up to the fence and like pet the horses and like feed them carrots. I probably shouldn't have, but I did because horses are fucking cool. Like, I'm not obsessed with horses, but I would own one. They are awesome. And man, I can't remember his name. He stunk to high heaven. He had the worst BO. He never showered. His feet just could knock out a cow. Anyways, then we moved to the house that I live in now. That was because we left the church that we were pastoring at because it was just, the building should be shut down. It is condemnable. But, the district attendant or whatever he's called refused to shut it down because he said, we're not in the business of closing churches, we're in the business of opening churches. But the church is decrepit, it's creaky, falling apart, rotting. I love that church, I love the people in it, the regular attendees, but that church it's just unsafe, and it'd be a shame for one Sunday just listening to the Word of God, and I'm going to meet Him. So yeah, we moved to this house that I live in now, and this is high school. This is 10th grade that I moved here. So middle school, 7th and 8th grade, I went to Grand Traverse Academy, which sucked. I hated it, but that's where I met Ken, who was Ken and my sister dated for years, off and on. They were going to get married, but Ken broke up with her. So, that also sucked for a couple of years because I felt like I lost a best friend, and we work together now, and we're just the best friends. It's awesome. Anyways, Grand Traverse Academy, nothing really happened. I had my first kiss, my second kiss, my third kiss, my first serious girlfriend. It's in middle school, so it wasn't really all that serious of a girlfriend. Then I got to high school, which I went to West Senior High, Traverse City West Senior High, and we moved here in my sophomore year, my freshman year. My sister was going to the same school with me. We were 3 years apart, so she was in her senior year. I was in my freshman year. So she was driving me to and from school out back to her house in Lake Ann, which took about a half an hour. Grand Traverse Academy, by the way, is where I reunited with Aubrey because a year after I went there, he came there from Platte River, and then a year after I went to West, Aubrey came to West. Met another friend, Max Psaros. We don't talk that much, but I still love him. He's just one of those friends that is like, okay, calm down. I'll talk to you later. I need a break. Because he's just all over the place. But high school, one serious girlfriend. She's a cheater. We were dating for about a year and some odd months and found out she was cheating on me, and I was like, bye. Then another serious girlfriend who lived in Lake City. We dated for about 6-7 months, I can't remember. And then she just lost interest in me, so I was like, bye. We still talk, by the way. All of us still talk. I still talk to all my exes, actually. Not regularly, but I'll talk to them if they need it. And I left high school in 11th grade. I didn't drop out. I homeschooled for 12th grade because they wanted me to go for a whole year when I only needed like a credit. And I was like, no, that's not going to do it. So I texted my mom and said, hey, I'm going to keep working full time. I want you to homeschool me again. Because I was homeschooled for a couple of years in my younger years. It's like, I want to be homeschooled again, just get this out of the way, graduate, cool. So I did that, and then I met another girlfriend whom, well, I guess was serious. We only dated for about 4 months. But I also had 3 jobs at the time. I was working 20 hours a week. Not a week. What am I saying? I worked 70-something days without a day off. Sun up to sundown, just straight working, didn't hang out with anybody all summer long, just wasted. Big Boy Breakfast Restaurant, TJ Maxx, and landscaping. All of that, all summer, to pay off some things, and don't have a dime of that money now. Made about $5,000 that summer. Don't have a penny of it. Not one, not a single one. Of course I would now, this was 3 years ago. Then I left TJ Maxx to work at a lodge named after a certain woods dog, but I don't want to say its actual name because they might sue me, because they've got a strict political public relations policy that you cannot mention them. It's super weird, super sketchy. But I worked at a poolside bar and grill, I guess. And I worked outside in the summer at the other poolside bar, which is where I got my bartending experience, which was super cool. I also met Garrett, who is also known as Space Cat the Medic. I'll link his SoundCloud down below. He's a great mixologist, I do believe he's called. I'm sorry if I got that wrong, and if you ever watch this video. Sooner or later I'm going to be doing videos with him playing video games, because we played video games all the time. And during my time there, I met my most recent girlfriend, who is a mother. And I've mentioned this before, but I've played the dad role before. And she was crazy. I couldn't do anything. I did everything wrong. I was the worst person in the world. Couldn't really handle it, because I couldn't play video games with my friends. And if I was still dating her, I would not be doing this. Not a chance. I spend so much time doing this that it wouldn't have flown. No, not at all. And I went through a long period of time, because Aubrey moved in with me because of an event that happened in his life that I'm not really comfortable talking about without his permission. And if I ever do talk about it, he'll be here and he'll tell the story. An event that happened in his life that he had to move in with me, and we lived together for almost a year. And I was working at the Lodge. He also worked at the Lodge, and then I went to work at Munson Medical Center. He went to work at Enterprise. And for the past 2 years, I've worked at Munson. And what really it hit me hard, and this is what really made me want to do YouTube. The loneliness set in after he moved out. He moved down 2 hours away, and I was lonely. Like, I didn't have that friend that was here all the time. I worked midnight, so I slept through the day when I could hang out with people, and I was up all night when nobody was awake and nothing was to do besides play video games. And I was like, you know what? I'm done. I can't be this lonely. I was getting depressed. I was getting down on myself. All I did was work and sleep and eat, repeat. That's it. So after a while, I was like, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I'm going to do it. And I didn't really know how to do it. I only had a laptop. I didn't have the computer that I do right now. But then I got a random increase of credit limit on my credit card. So I was like, perfect. This is a sign. I think this is a sign. I'm going to buy all my computer parts. And that whole night at work, when I realized that I had over $2,000 to play with, I was like, I'm building this computer. I'm buying my equipment. I'm buying the software. I'm buying all of this. And I'm going to start YouTube next week. And it was hard. That first video, One Bad Birthday Among the Sleep, episode 1, was terrible. Oh, it was so bad. And every part of that series was bad. Every part of Amnesia was bad. Up until I think I got my new camera, my second camera, which was another webcam. I started off with a blue snowball and a webcam, which one of my viewers now has. She won a contest. She won my starting equipment. I'll do that soon with this equipment and maybe my other webcam, just because I'm not going to be using it anymore. But it took a lot to do, and building that first even 20 subscribers, oh, it was hard. Oh, it was hard, and it's still hard. I mean, I make videos every day, almost every day, unless something gets in the way. Like today, I didn't release a video earlier, which is now almost 10 o'clock at night. This won't even go up till tomorrow morning. They were reflooring upstairs, and it was just way too loud to record, so I didn't have anything prepared. Yeah. So that is pretty much my life. I think I explained a lot of it. I'm not going to do it in its entirety until I really hit a milestone, and I'm going to do Draw My Life, and then I'll do it much more in detail about me, not my events. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope this gives a little bit of insight on me, so you know who I am. And I will see all of you in the next video. Bye-bye.